Rookie of the Year to the National Championship. But trailing by only 29 points and a chance to win the title, veteran Cale Yarborough, as they clash in the LA Times 500, the final NASCAR event of the year. And from
Thank you, Dick Stockton. You are looking at the mountains that shadow Ontario, California, and the $31.5 million, 2.5 mile Ontario Motor Speedway for this afternoon, live on the CBS Sports Spectacular, race number 31 to decide the $6 million NASCAR Grand National Tour for 1980. The cars are on the track. They are running in the 155th lap, 45 laps to go, 387.5 miles complete. On this 2.5-mile track, 4 separate turns, some of them like a half mile, straightaways where the speeds go in excess of 190 miles per hour. Good afternoon with David Hobbs. I'm Ken Squire, and we have just a fantastic race with 45 laps remaining. 6 cars are in the lead lap, and at this point, the lead for the national championship that Dale Earnhardt has enjoyed almost all season has been sandwiched down to about 9 points. Cale Yarborough has been out in front. Earnhardt has been falling behind. We are in a caution period. The 6th caution of the day right now. Some kind of race, David.
Well, it started off with the 2 stars of the show, Dale Earnhardt and Cale Yarborough. Looked like they were going to go away. Then Darrell Waltrip really asserted himself, and Richard Petty came up, and they started to run away, and we went for 71 laps without a caution flag. Then we had the first caution, and from then on, Dale Earnhardt slipped back, and he's now up there in the hunt.
The only time to ever have a driver win the national championship 3 times successively. Cale Yarborough pulled it off. Now, Dale Earnhardt is challenging for the championship. He was Rookie of the Year 1 year ago. He is fighting for the championship right now on the Speedway. For more of the story, let's go to the pits and Brock Yates.
Ken, what a day for Dale Earnhardt. It's been the front straightaway here, slowed him up at the beginning stages. Then he fell behind a full lap with an inauspicious caution flag, and bad luck seemed to carry him down and down into the standings. Finally, he got down as far as 9th place. But the whole crew here, led by young 20-year-old Doug Reichert, who's the crew chief on this car, they fought and scratched their way back, and they're in the hunt. So the championship is still at stake, and it looks as if we're going to be in it right to the end at this particular location. Up to you.
Until just 3 minutes ago, Dale Earnhardt was 1 lap down. After they came back from a caution, Earnhardt came out and flew. Got out in front. There was another caution. He is back in the lead lap as we are ready for a restart with Dale Earnhardt in the lead lap once again. The field is getting ready to take a green flag here at the Ontario Motor Speedway, and as they come down, they will be into lap number 356, and you're going to see it all right to the finish now at Ontario. Green flag is being shown. The field is coming down. Cale Yarborough is your leader. The leader of the Alabama gang, Bobby Allison, is second, and coming up on the outside. Earnhardt is surging into the lead. Dale Earnhardt slipped up the outside right against the wall, and Dale Earnhardt of Kannapolis, North Carolina, worth over $250,000 to this young man if he can hold it together and win this national championship. The purse today is some $26,000. You just saw Earnhardt rim ride all the way to the wall and get himself out in front. In the back straightaway, some 3,800 feet long. Earnhardt is your leader, and Cale Yarborough is in second place. Yarborough dives to the inside. Yarborough is shut off in turn number 3 as they come around to complete what will be lap number 356 of the 200 to be run. To the stripe, Cale Yarborough is in second, and the way the matter now stands, Earnhardt will become the first sophomore driver in history of the Grand National Tour that goes back to 1949 to ever win the national title. Look at this speed shot as they hurtle down the main straightaway. Literally inches apart at 190 miles per hour into turn number 1.
There's car number 7. He's not second in. He's second on the track. He's a couple of laps down, but he was going very well earlier on.
That's Blake Speed. He is running 8th.
Another rookie, too. He's done very well this year.
Very well this year and in this race. Meanwhile, Herschel McGriff, number 98, is on pit road. Rose, a famous West Coast driver, 53 years old, won the Pan American race in 1950 in the sister car to the number 2 that is fighting for the lead. Number 98 is coming back on the track. There you see Cale Yarborough, number 11. He's exerting that Junior Johnson car for the last time. A new team for Junior Johnson. He'll be driving Benny Parsons' car come 1981. Back they hurdle into the main straightaway, and here challenging is a member of the Alabama gang, Neil Bonnet, in the Wood Brothers, number 21, holding out of that second spot. Falling back to third is Dale Earnhardt. Just moments ago, car number 88, who had dominated this race, Darrell Waltrip, getting big leads, fighting his way, erupted an engine. Waltrip, sideline, will not finish. The Los Angeles Times Charities 500 today. There's Dale Earnhardt, the youngster, the son of Ralph Earnhardt, who Bobby Isaac once said won more races than probably anyone in motor racing. Well, Ralph Earnhardt's son is out here today trying to win this national championship. Down they go into turn number 3. Leader, Cale Yarborough, smooth, consistent, wants to run only 18 races next year, wants to spend more time with his family, so is taking his last ride with the last American hero, Junior Johnson's car, as they hurdle down out of turns 3 and 4.
Well, next year is going to be a couple of American heroes because Darrell Waltrip is going to drive Junior Johnson's car. In second place here, we see Neil Bonnet, who qualified third in time trials and has been right up there in the hunt the entire race. And, of course, this race has been tremendously predicated on the battle between Yarborough and Earnhardt. And Neil Bonnet said in practice, gee, wouldn't it be funny if one of those other guys won the race? And he still could do it. Neil Bonnet's been running very strongly all day.
Turn 2, Earnhardt working to the inside, noses the car down, trying to nudge Neil Bonnet out of the position. Swapping paint as they come out of turn number 2 and hurdle down the back straightaway. Bonnet dropping to third, Bobby Allison running in fourth. Benny Parsons is maintaining fifth. Dave Marcus has had a great day. Marcus running in the 6th position. Lake Speed is now being shown in 7th. Joe Milliken is in 8th. Perry Labonte is in 9th. To Ned Jarrett on pit road.
About some of the problems that Dale Earnhardt had earlier. That has not been the case with Cale Yarborough. Of course, we see him out front right now, as he's been much of the time here this afternoon, and it's been the case for the last 2 races. He has dominated the competition. The Junior Johnson's car has been prepared so well, and he's carrying that dominance right on into this race. He had the momentum going, and he still has it going here today. They got one more pit stop to make, though, and that could tell the difference. Back to you.
Race has been slowed after setting one record at the 20-lap mark. We're down to an average of 129.403 miles per hour. We've had 6 caution periods thus far, with a cumulative total of 29 laps under caution. There have been 15 lead changes now among 5 drivers. Still, Yarborough holding the lead. Earnhardt running in second place. After turn number 3, about 7-degree banking here. There's not much you can lay your shoulder on this track, David Hawk.
Well, of course, these NASCAR drivers are used to driving on the high-banked, high-speed ovals like Daytona and Talladega, and even their short tracks have a lot more banking to them than it does here. And, of course, these big cars, they have to set them up much softer, and it's a very different ball game down here to what they're used to, and they're still rattling around here at 150 miles an hour. 160 up 200 laps complete. And the Timmonsville Terror, Cale Yarborough, continues to lead the Los Angeles Times Charities 500. 163 laps complete. 407.5 miles are down. And we have 6 cars running nose to tail for the lead here in the Los Angeles Times Charities 500. Cale Yarborough is still maintaining a lead of about half a foot over car number 2, Dale Earnhardt, as they thunder down into turn number 1. The major story early in this race was wind. In Maine, they call it a nor'easter. Out here, they refer to it as the Santa Ana, blowing out of the northeast, 30th up there throughout the day, and it has created dust storms where the visibility on the racetrack down this back straightaway has been less than 100 yards. That has abated just a bit, and as we watch the leaders come around again, you see Neil Bonnet running third, Benny Parsons in fourth, still Cale Yarborough out in front. Top 5 cars running exactly in the positions in which they qualified for the 42-car field. Let's take a look at the attrition. Who's not here that started the race earlier? Don Fitzgerald from the West Coast Blue. Terry Grant, a big favorite. Gant out early. Joe Ruttman, who won the earlier race here today. They had a Grand American race. Ruttman was among the early victims. Donnie Allison lost an engine. D.K. Ulrich is out. Kyle Petty lost his engine. Perhaps the sand is bothering here.
Joe Boer is out. Thomas had trouble with his brakes. He is out. The car number 45, that is Roy Smith of Vancouver, British Columbia. He has retired. In all, a total of 18 automobiles are down. There you see Richard Petty's car. He's retired. Glenn Francis of Bakersfield, California. Herschel McGriff of Bridalveil, Oregon. He's just quit. Smut Means from down in Alabama. Lenny Pond, Chuck Bound, the former West Coast champion. They have all fallen by the wayside. And lastly, the rookie on the West Coast this year, Robinson, is retired, and Darrell Waltrip, his engine just expired.
Well, there's quite a few engine problems out here, and I think some of that must have been caused by the dust. I know it's given the drivers a lot of problems here because there's a lot of dust being blown around, and of course you can see how the cameramen are being blown around. Well, so are these big slab-sided cars.
Underneath the start finish line area, from that camera right there that gives you that incredible speed shot, you saw Cale Yarborough, the man on the pole, still out in front of the man he started beside, Dale Earnhardt, as they got into this Corral skirmish to decide the national championship in this, the last laps of the last race for 1981. A $6 million shootout coming down to these final turns around this 2.5-mile track.
It was, incidentally, Cale Yarborough's 14th pole position in the season, which is incredible. Nearly half the races he was on the pole.
Cale led the first lap and picked up those 5 bonus points today. Then Waltrip dominated for a considerable length of time in the race. Joe Ruttman made a tremendous run from 40th all the way to 16th position. Then he hand grenaded an engine and was out of it. Donnie Allison lost his engine. The first incident of the race was when a tire was cut down on the Burt Reynolds car, the Hal Needham Burt Reynolds car number 40, being driven by stuntman Stan Barrett. Cut a tire in turn 3 and spun him around, bringing out the first caution. Up until then, it looked like we were in for all kinds of records. At the present time, we've now had 6 cautions. There, incidentally, car number 40 is being shown in 16th position. There's Dave Marcus. He's one of your leaders, in trouble, from Skyland, Wisconsin. Dave Marcus is having trouble. Skyland, North Carolina, Wasso, Wisconsin runner. He has been running in 6th position, and now he is in the pits and dropping back a lap, leaving 5 cars in the lead lap. 5 machines fighting it out. Average speed, 129, 136, 19 lead changes among 5 drivers, 6 cautions for 29 laps. As you're watching live, the grand finale to the 1980 NASCAR Grand National Campaign. Here's Cale Yarborough still holding on to first. You begin to wonder. They have said that Earnhardt geared his car perhaps a couple of feet too high, trying to save it a bit here. But he's drafting and looking very good at this moment, David.
Then the wind, of course, was swinging around a bit, and it became a headwind as they went down the front straightaway, and he reckoned he lost touch with the leaders because he just couldn't keep up. And then, of course, ultimately he dropped back to now 9th place by losing a lap. And the elation on his crew when he finally made that lap back on a yellow caution flag was something to see. And of course, if it finishes like this, even if Cale wins the race, of course, Dale Earnhardt will still win the championship.
1 year ago at the Plaza Hotel in Daytona Beach, Dale Earnhardt was named Rookie of the Year, and he said, there's only one thing I want, is to be standing where the champion is this year. That was last February. Now he is just perhaps moments away, but he has to keep it together. Meanwhile, Ned Jarrett is standing by as we watch number 71 Marcus coming back on the track. Jarrett is standing by for the last American hero.
He's a Hall of Fame member in auto racing, Junior Johnson. Junior, you have one more pit stop to make. When will that come?
Should come around 180 laps, Ned. We should just be able to take on the can of gas and go the rest of the way. I'm not very serious if we'll change tires.
On most racetracks, new tires will run a little bit faster. Is that not the case here?
Well, it's probably the case, but in 20 laps, you take another 5 or 6 seconds to change the tires, you're going to wind up losing the race because you can't pick up 5 or 6 seconds in 20 laps.
Here's a man that figures all angles, Ken, and has got this one figured out now.
Ned Jarrett's son, Glenn Jarrett, is out here in this race, and Glenn is now running in 17th position for you folks down in Hickory, North Carolina, watching today. As you watch them down the backstretch at over 190, 1.5 second interval between the 1st and 5th place car. That's how tight the running has been here in this LA Times Charities 500. With Doug Leiker, the 20-year-old crew chief of the car currently #1 of the nation, Brock Yates.
Doug, about an hour ago, your face was a little longer than it is now. Things have perked up considerably.
Yes, it has. Earlier in the race, we had a pretty costly mistake when we come into pits, and we managed managed to maintain our position, We was drafting up with the leaders, and was fortunate to come across the line ahead of the leaders on that one lap, and was able to get the lap back, and now we're running right with them. Saying, no telling how we can finish the race now, but it looks great.
Knowing that kid out there, number 2, I'm sure he's not prepared to settle for second place right now. He's probably forgotten the championship and is just looking at winning this race, right?
Well, that's kind of hard to say, but you are right. I know he's a real go-getter, and he will want to win the race. If he can't run away, he'll settle for second, but I know he's going to go for the win.
Doug, what's your strategy in the final 30 laps?
Well, we have one more scheduled pit stop. We'll be coming out one lap 184. I think we're just going to give him some gas. We're going to look at the tires. That tires will be determined when he come in.
Okay. Thanks, Doug. Ken, can you remember what you were doing when you were 20 years old?
I don't want to talk about it.
I can't even remember being 20.
The Young Turks against the Old Lions here today, represented by Cale Yarborough with the Junior Johnson car, the veterans, and the youngsters with the Australian number 2 running in second place in this $205,000 shootout at the Ontario Motor Speedway. We're back with you live at the Los Angeles area's Great Motor Speedway in Ontario. The Ontario Motor Speedway, and on this 2.5-mile track, there's Bobby Allison hovering, the 2-time winner of this event, fighting his way up through, battling toward the front of the field in the car that has won this race on a previous occasion for Bud Moore. Down they come in the main straightaway. David, he's beginning to show some horses here toward the end.
He certainly is, which is very ironic considering that he and the Bud Moore team have split up, and that car as yet remains unsponsored for next year.
There's Hoyt Axton, the country singer, out here enjoying the race today. Back they go in turn number 1. Allison has appropriated first place, and he's literally blown by everybody, trying to become the first man to ever win this race 3 times. A.J. Foyt won it twice when the race was first instituted back in 1971 and 72, in 74 and 78. The leader of the Alabama gang put it all together here. And he continues to look very strong at the present time. Car number 15.
Well, this is certainly the strongest showing he's put on today, but he also qualified pretty well up there. He qualified in 5th spot, just a few ticks of a clock away from Cale Yarborough, who was on the pole. You can see him swooping down the back straight. Another thing that wind will have done today is blown an awful lot of that California grit around, and these windscreens on these cars will be really well and truly sandblasted. And as the sun starts to set out here in California, visibility down the boundary and into turn 3 and 4 will be extremely poor.
As matters stand, Cale Yarborough now slips back into 4th position as Bobby Allison makes a concerted effort here at the end of this race. Look at him pull away with that Bud Moore car. And this is Bobby Allison's last ride in this machine. He moves on to a new team next year. He'll be driving the car that Buddy Baker, as you saw, won the Daytona 500 with on CBS last February. And he is the 6th driver to lead this race this afternoon. Bobby Allison now taking over in 1st.
Taking well over in 1st. Dale Earnhardt's dropped back to 2nd spot, but is a fair distance behind.
It is the 7th of 8 races. There have been 8 races here that Bobby Allison has at one time or another held the lead in, and twice he has taken the checkered flag. It's a real surprise to see him come on this strong. He has been running back, really not showing his hand until now, but as the laps run down, showing 176 laps complete here this afternoon of 200 to be run, he is beginning to motor, beginning to pull away. Earnhardt, meanwhile, stays in 2nd spot. Dale Earnhardt has only performed one other time at the Ontario Motor Speedway, that 1 year ago, with the Australian racing team, this young California team, when he started in the 6th position and wound up in 9th. Cale Yarborough has been here several previous times, dating back to 1974, and in the 6 times he has been here, he's still looking for a win. He was 2nd in 1978. There you see NASCAR control, Dick Beatty from Charlotte, North Carolina, who is running the race today about 100 feet above the racetrack in the most modern race facility control tower there is in motorsports. On the back straightaway, you're watching Bobby Allison, this longtime champion who, more than anything, someday wants to win the national title, wants to be with a team where he thinks he can do it, hence his move to the Rainier team with crew chief Waddell Wilson for 1981.
That team, of course, not even being represented here in Ontario at all. Dale Earnhardt in 2nd, now being chased hard by Benny Parsons and Neil Bonnet, having a go at Benny down the front straightaway there. Bobby Allison really going on his way.
idea of how bad the wind is? Take a look at that. When you're floating a car at 180, 190 miles per hour, you go down the backstretch, and it gives you a little bit of a buffeting. Then down the front straightaway, it's a kick in the seat of the pants.
I'm impressed at the lack of people that have been bouncing off the wall. I really thought that wind would be more trouble for these cars than it has turned out to be. Especially as they turn into 3 here, and then as they get across the 4, the wind suddenly comes at right angles to them and pushes them up onto that wall coming out of 4, which is a bad place anyway.
The correct laps, I may have been in error a moment ago, correct laps are 170 complete, 30 laps remaining in the event. There may be some key pit stops yet in the race. Bobby Allison is now enjoying the biggest lead anyone has had all afternoon. Allison is pulled out in front by about 4.5 seconds, and he may have to make one more stop today. Pit stops are so important, so crucial in these races. As you know, they talk about these 12 and 14-second stops. That is almost unfathomable to we of the average world, and so we went out to show you exactly what the difference is between a Grand National pit stop and what you and I know as a change to a flat tire on the highway. Brock Yates helped us along.
You are about to see an impressive demonstration. It does not include the foursome in this small sedan. They'll serve as a sort of benchmark for all our average workaday mediocrity when it comes to that special ordeal of motoring, the tire change. While they grope for the luggage and try to decipher the workings of the jack, note the arrival of a group of experts in the background. This is the Darrell Waltrip Grand National Pit Crew, a trained team who have turned the mundane chores of tire changing and filling the gas tank into a minor art form. They can give their man 4 fresh tires and 22 gallons of gasoline in less than 20 seconds. As for these clowns, we suggest you time their tire change not with a stopwatch, but with a calendar.
I don't think we ever did get that thing changed. It still is. It was all your fault. If you hadn't left your golf clubs in there, we'd have been out in 3 or 4 hours. Number 21, Neil Bonnet, is just in front of number 2, Dale Earnhardt, as we get down toward the end of this event. Moving down toward the finish of the event, we will return with more live coverage of the LA Times 500 on the CBS Sports Spectacular after this word from your local station. Great group of announcers to bring you all kinds of NFL action tomorrow here on CBS. Live from Ontario, California. We're getting down to pit stop time, getting into those final moments of the race. The number 2 car of Earnhardt, they're prepping right now on pit road to get him in and get him out under a green condition. Hopefully win the national championship. But actually, they're just as determined to win this race today. No holds barred, all-out run by Cale Yarborough and by Dale Earnhardt as we get into the waning moments. Tomorrow, the football action begins a half hour before kickoff with the NFL Today. A great lineup of regional contests tomorrow. L.A. against New England, played that great game on Monday night. Tampa Bay against Minnesota. The Dallas-St. Louis contest as well, plus Philadelphia, Washington, and can the Giants do it again against Green Bay, as well as San Francisco and Miami. It's all on CBS tomorrow with the NFL. Here this afternoon with NASCAR's Grand National title at stake, Bobby Allison has taken first place, and he's beginning to reel out a pretty strong margin over the second place competitor, who at this time is Neil Bonnet, and the Alabama gang runs first and second.
Well, that's pretty good for old Alabama. And here into the pits. Comes 21.
Neil Bonnet and Dale Earnhardt are both pitting. Coming in is Dale Earnhardt. Let's go to his pit area right now.
And here we are. He's just making that final stop. Eases in. They're under green, you know. That's a lot of pressure here. They clean that windshield off. It's been dirty all afternoon. They're going to change the 2 right side tires. There's a little problem there with the jack, and he left early. Whether or not that's going to affect it, I don't know, but he certainly didn't get those tires changed. We'll check with the crew chief and get back to you.
There is a black flag coming out on car number 2. NASCAR is announcing there is a black flag on number 2 Earnhardt. That is the third bad pit stop. They are missing lug nuts. We've seen that happen here before. We had better follow car number 2 because he may drop a tire off out here. He may drop the whole wheel.
He may drop the whole championship by that hasty stop. They looked at the wheel, they took the wheel off, and I don't think he realized they were doing it, and he just drove off.
Here is Bobby Allison on pit road. He comes in very easily, very carefully, gets on the binders. Bobby Allison driving for Bud Moore in the Mike Curb car. Benny Parsons is pitting. There is a black consultation flag about to be given to car number 2, Earnhardt, as he tries to fight his way into the national championship to upset all those who considered a sophomore driver as just an impossibility of winning the national title. Earnhardt is coming around, and he's not coming very quickly. The black flag is out as he crosses the line. He's just received the bad news as he goes down into turn number 1 that he'll have to pit again, and this will really change the situation. It could put him a lap down and make Cale Yarborough the national champion. They have fluctuated back and forth for the title all afternoon. At one point, Cale Yarborough had the title by 4 points. Then it went back the other way in favor of Earnhardt by 20 points. The 5-point bonus for most laps led in the race was given to car number 88, Darrell Waltrip, before he retired. He dominated much of the going here this afternoon. From laps 184, now complete. On pit road, number 11, Cale Yarborough. Cale Yarborough pitting. Watch this stop. That's yours. Stop on car number 11.
The consummate professional team and the absolute consummate professional driver, Cale Yarborough, one of the finest drivers in the world. Always did tremendously well in those international races, championship races. Was a great driver, really drives well on road tracks, and obviously on these NASCAR ovals is a tremendous man to beat.
Car number 64, Tommy Gale, McKeesport, Pennsylvania, slowing down on the back stretch. Will he bring out a caution? A shocked and stunned Dale Earnhardt has seen the black flag twice in a row. He knows with absolute, complete knowledge now that that flag is for him and that he must pit or they're going to stop scoring him within another lap or 2 laps before they'll take him off the board. So he has to come in. There you see 15 laps to go. And after these pit stops, back out in front is car number 15. Bobby Allison is in front. Cale Yarborough is in second. Neil Bonnet showing third as we get down toward the finish. The pit crew is ready directly across from us for Dale Earnhardt. And if they lose the national championship worth an extra $250,000, they will lose it from the pits.
Well, I've seen national championships lost with 1 race to go, but never with only 15.
Down he comes. Number 2, Earnhardt. Let's go to the pits.
Okay, he's into the pits. He's made a perfunctory stop. The NASCAR people claim that he ran over the jack when he came in on his last stop. So he's being forced to make the stop. Now the NASCAR observers are making him back the car up. They have to make sure that those lug nuts are tight. That's the NASCAR concern. There have been some very heated words down here. Earnhardt's underway, and who's to know what's going to happen with the championship. A lot of upset people in the Earnhardt pit right now.
It's back in the balance another time. Back in the balance, the title. The first position remains with car number 15. And the key to this whole race may be who's in first. There's 5 points for a first, second, third, and fourth place interval here. Back to 5th place. 5-point intervals, and if Bobby Allison stays in front, that would help Earnhardt for sure. We have one report that there were 2 lug nuts off, and we have another report there were 3. And if there were 3, he was running with the right sync.
He was lucky to get around at all.
Back to Brock Yates. Let's get another report on what just happened.
I'm down here with Doug Richards, the crew chief on Dale's car. Doug, the complaint was about the jack. Is that right?
Yeah, well, they said we ran over the jack when we really didn't run a jack. It may have looked like it, but the jack did hit the tire. And I think from the viewer standpoint up in the tower, the NASCAR tower, it looked like it hit and ran over it.
What will you do now? Is there anything else that you can do to appeal your case?
They're the one that calls the shots, and we may talk about it later on after the race is over.
Are there any lug nuts gone?
No.
Okay. He's says there are no lug nuts missing, but he's pretty upset, as you can see. So this thing is still up for grabs, Ken.
Well, there wouldn't be any missing now, that's for sure, because they brought him back in, and you saw them make them go down there in a very perfunctory manner. That NASCAR official saying, go to that rear tire and do it again.
Well, he didn't lose a lap, and he's still running in 6th position. And, of course, the leader now is Bobby Allison. The thing that will really crucify Dale Earnhardt is if Cale Yarborough should win the race, and he should finish lower than 5th. See our leader, Bobby Allison, snaking down that wall. The shadow's getting long in the afternoon here as he goes from the bright sun to the dark. And here comes second place. There, number 27, Benny Parsons. There's Neil Bonnet in 4th, and right behind him is Cale Yarborough, who's now back in 5th place then.
So there is a bit of an interval as Bobby Allison continues to dominate. Laps running down in the final moments here this afternoon. See the point distribution, 175 points for winning, and a 5-point interval back to the 6th position, actually. Then a 4-point interval from 7th back to the 11th position. 5 points for leading at least one lap, and a 5-point bonus for leading the most laps. That already has gone to Darrell Waltrip. No one can touch his mark, as he really cranked out the laps in front before the engine went away on the Dygaard Racing Team car and left him about standard this afternoon. Toward the end, I believe we are showing lap 189. 189 complete. 11 laps to go. Coming up on 190 this time live. Again, we're looking at the interval back to the car that will be running in 2nd position. That's car number 15. Bobby Allison scoots down the main straightaway. Allison out in front. Well, this will be something. He is tied with A.J. Foyt at 2 wins each on this racetrack. A.J. winning for the Wood brothers in 71 and 72. The interval stands at about 5 2/10 of a second between the 1st and the 2nd place runner. And the 2nd place runner is Neil Bonnet, attached right to Bonnet's rear bumper, drafting with him. 2 cars running together faster than 1 car by itself is Cale Yarborough. The 4th position is number 27. That would be Benny Parsons, and 5th, unofficially now, is Dale Earnhardt in this LA Times 500. You are watching the leader, Bobby Allison, pit live here in the last moments of the LA Times 500 in Ed Jarrett.
Tim, the right front tire was going down. What a tough break with less than 20 miles to go. He had a commanding lead. Now he's in the fifth, losing a lot of value. Will have to have that tire changed down. He's down and away, but he's lost the lead.
What a tough break for Bobby Allison. He had that race absolutely locked up, and that looks like it might give the 2nd consecutive win to Benny Parsons, who won this race last year and who was lying in a comfortable 2nd place, well ahead of Cale Yarborough and Neil Bonnet, who we see there running in 3rd and 4th spots. So with only just a few laps to go, 5 laps to go, Benny Parsons could well win this Ontario race.
And remember, he's losing his right. He has no place to go next year. He won this race last year. He won the 2nd biggest race on the NASCAR Tour, the World 600 at Charlotte this year, but he is without a home for 1981. Here he comes around. He is leading, and it moves Cale Yarborough in 21 to 2nd and 3rd. That's stopped by Allison. That means that Parsons will be running first. Cale Yarborough is taken over in 2nd. Neil Bonnet dropping to 3rd. What a race. Lake Speed is running right with the 21 car of Bonnet, and Lake Speed is being shown in 6th position. That rookie's had a heck of a day. There you see them, Lake Speed right in there fighting it out in the last moments of the going. And there is a 6-second lead for Benny Parsons now over car number 11, Cale Yarborough in 2nd.
With 5 laps to go.
Meanwhile, there's Benny Parsons, great champion, won Daytona, has won the World 600, former national champion, and looking for a ride for 1981. Incredible story, as is Buddy Baker, the man who won the Daytona 500 here on CBS in 1980.
And of course, that car number 27 is going to be driven by Cale Yarborough next year, but only in selected events, not the whole Grand National Championship Series.
Now watch this race. 21 and 11 are battling for second. They keep swapping back and forth. And Neil Bonnet has gone back in front of Cale Yarborough. About every lap they switch positions as they battle for second. There goes Cale down to the inside. Talk about true grit and determination. Cale Yarborough with 5 to go. Right down the inside and throwing the block to car number 21 as he exits turn number 1. Meanwhile, 5th position, oh my heart, it's Dale Earnhardt. Car number 2 is holding on to 5th, and he will win the national championship if he can just stick it out there.
Not by many points, but he will win it. And last year, of course, we saw another cliffhanger here when Richard Petty and Darrell Waltrip were battling it out. Darrell made a tactical error, lost the race, and lost the championship.
One mistake, one technical problem with the car. It's all over for Earnhardt at that point. Right now, he still holds on. Dale Earnhardt still clicking off those laps. What a day for him. He has to have ice water in here today because it has been up and down all afternoon situation. And the pits have not helped Earnhardt at all this afternoon. He's up on the racetrack. Second place coming to the line. It's car number 11. Cale Yarborough back in front of Neil Bonnet. There's your leader, Benny Parsons.
Really holding his breath now because Benny's been looking strong all day, but not that strong. And suddenly here with just a few laps to go, bingo, there he is right at the top of the heap. And his old heart must be really flapping in there now, and he's just absolutely holding his breath because to win this race at this time would be absolutely crucial to him.
There you see the interval from Parsons back to the second and third place cars. Cale Yarborough and Neil Bonnet as they go down the back straightaway. Next Saturday, 4:30 on the CBS Sports Spectacular. The WBA Junior Welterweight Championship of the world. The third world title fight in 4 weeks. It's Aaron Pryor, the champ, against the Canadian champion, Gideon Hart. See it next week here on the CBS Sports Spectacular. And the following Saturday, the 29th, a show very special to us. We're delighted to have with us for the World Aerobatic Championships. Those great aerobatic teams from all over the world in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. And working with us will be one of the world's great aviators. The man who broke the sound barrier for the first time back with the X-1 in 1947, Chuck Yeager. General Chuck Yeager will join CBS. Don't miss it in 2 weeks with some of the greatest flying you'll ever see. Right now, as we're flying toward the finish of the LA Times Charities 500, Benny Parsons looks like he's ready to exert the championship form to carry him to another win this year. Meanwhile, Cale Yarborough is in second. Maintaining third is Neil Bonnet. Holding on to fourth is Bobby Allison. And out back in fifth with just enough points to scrape home. Dale Earnhardt is crossing the line right now in front of car number 38, a back marker, Don Waterman from Portland, Oregon, as he tries to hold on to this national title. He had a big lead, 160 points at one time of the year, and then it went away, sometimes squandered, sometimes just battered by Cale Junior Johnson. There's your leader going through. Now here comes your second place tangle, down to the line, and across the front, Cale Yarborough still in front of Neil Bonnet. Laps running out. The laps to go, down now into the final 2. White flag next time by. Less than 5 miles remaining, David.
It will be Benny's third win this year. He won the World 600, and of course he won the Michigan 400. We saw him win the World 600 on CBS back in May, and what an incredible finish he had there, holding off Darrell Waltrip. Jaws, as he's known in the trade. Jaws also moving on to another team. He, of course, is going to take Cale Yarborough's drive in Junior Johnson's team. So we're going to see a lot of driver changes next year, and there we see Benny Parsons leading this race at Ontario, about to win it with 1 lap to go, or 1 1/4 lap to go now, and he's without a ride for next year.
Some people say he just doesn't have the determination anymore, and I would disagree after what we saw at Charlotte when he went wheel to wheel with Waltrip for the last 12, 15 laps, side by side, back and forth in that great contest. Here he is out in front. The David Hitt prepared car. White flag is out. White flag is on the Ontario Motor Speedway. Benny Parsons is into his last lap as he goes into turn number 1. Meanwhile, that battle for second place continues to heat up. Bonnet and Yarborough bumping on each other as they go down that short straightaway to turn number 2. Out in front as we stay with Benny Parsons following around. Just a heartbeat away from winning this LA Times $205,000 race. There's your battle for second place. Cale Yarborough, Neil Bonnet, number 11 and 21 respectively.
And there we are. Neil Bonnet going down the inside of Cale Yarborough to try and take away second place.
Out of turn number 4, Benny Parsons gathers that car up, slides out toward the wall, coming down. There's the Doug Reichert crew for the Australians, for Dale Earnhardt, hoping they have a national championship on this lap. They're running 5th overall. Coming to the stripe, checkered flag is out, and Benny Parsons concludes his work for MC Anderson with a win. And it is a dead heat, it looked like, for second place. Yarborough and Bonnet thundering to the line. We're waiting for the count. 6 1/10 second advantage for the first place car over whoever was second and third across the stripe. And we'll give you that in just a moment, and you'll meet the winner. One of the nicest gentlemen in automobile racing, Benny Parsons, in just a moment. Parsons took the lead on the 193rd lap, 7 laps in the finish, and he drives it home today. His 3rd Grand National win of 1980 comes in the last race of the year. Ladies and gentlemen, the winner, Benny Parsons with Brock Yates.
Benny, congratulations. What a way to end a season.
Sure is. I can't think of a better way, can you, bro?
I saw here last year you beat Bobby Allison on the last lap, as I recall, in this race last year. It was a little bit easier this time, 7 laps from the end.
Yeah, it was. It really was a tough break for Bobby. I don't know if I was going to catch him or not. It was going to be awfully close, and it was going to be very exciting for the end, but he had a problem.
Benny, you hung in all the way with the leaders, never really let it until the end. What about the race car and the race itself?
I think I led 7 laps, didn't I? The last 7. I was thinking, with about 10 laps to go, I said, this is a shame. Here I am running second.
Benny, we got to get out of here. We got a lot of time. Our congratulations. Ken, up to you.
17th career win for Benny Parsons. He pulls it off here at the Ontario Motor Speedway with a splendid victory over Neil Bonnet, and Dale Earnhardt wins the national championship.